Good evening, everybody, and welcome to my final show officially of Living a Graceful Life. And I am so, so, so grateful to all of you for all the support. 2.5 years of doing this show. I know, thank you, Mary Beth, and everybody's on here, and I can, I've got all my regular faithfuls that have supported me all these years and shows, and it has been just an honor, honor, honor. I can't even tell you. It's bittersweet because I feel that it's the end of an era, but it's the beginning of a new, blessed, beautiful era. So I feel forever grateful, thankful, and I've loved doing it. And I have such a special guest on as my final hurrah. This is Miss Mary Beth Chaney, and she is my friend and fellow educator. You're a trainer as well, aren't you, Ageless Grace? I
Yes.
thought you were. We did a presentation earlier in the year. Some of you actually did it with us, and it was about a new year, new you. And we had to come up with one thing in particular that we were going to change, behavior, habit, And so Denise, my mother, Mary Beth, and I were able to present together for the month of January. So I got to know her a little bit better, but now I get to know you even better. So thank you so much for being my last and wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guest. I
I
appreciate you.
feel
Thank
honored
you.
to be the one closing this era of wonderfulness.
Wonderfulness. So I want to tell me a little bit about you and your life.
Me and my life. Well, I am here in sunny San Antonio, Texas, and we move a lot. People always ask me, "Is your husband military?" And I said, "No, he just can't figure out what he wants to be when he grows up." So we keep moving around. This is our 14th move. So anyway, I'm married, and my husband just had open heart surgery, so I've been spending a lot of time keeping him from doing stupid things so he doesn't get back in the hospital. That's consumed my time. And I recently wrote a book with Denise Medved about ageless grace and about the emotional side of ageless grace. And that's a little bit about what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about keeping peace in a chaotic world. And Tracy and I were having a little conversation about how sometimes that chaos sets in and we just feel like you can't breathe and it's heavy. And how do we overcome that? And what's going on with all that?
So I appreciate the topic and I appreciate your time. I feel today I woke up, and before I have two classes today, and I had a little break in between with a dear new client and friend, student and friend, become a friend. She's 84 and we've become buddies. I sit with her at the pool in my break at her place, and she's a very spiritual, wonderful human being. And I had told her there was an incident today, somebody's in politics, that somebody's house got burned, and he has the same faith as I have. And it's a Passover, which is a very precious, sacred time, as any holiday is, and as every day is. And I was telling her what had happened, and she was very sad, and she didn't know. And she told me, which was interesting because up until about a year ago, this would have been me. She said, I try not to watch the news very much because it makes me very sad and it affects how I feel. So that was powerful. Everything from last night up until today has been like little kind of um, reminders of things that I kind of need to practice that I really haven't been. I think it's wonderful to stay informed, of course, but not when it's like first thing in the morning when I know I have these classes, I have a show, I have, responsibilities like we all have, and things to take care of. And I had to leave the house a little early to go to the bank and get gas, like the normal things. And my head was like in a tailspin. So I put on Wayne Dyer, of course, and Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life audiobook. And it started looping a little bit. It started getting better, but it would have really served me because I already knew about the incident yesterday. So it was just like refreshing it for me. And I think that in this time of a little bit of this turbulent time that we're going through, I think give me some strategies, please, Mary Beth. Help me.
I've got some strategies. I've got some tricks up my sleeve for you. So first of all, let's talk about what happens in our brain and our bodies when that stress sets in, because I think it's helpful to know that what's going on. So we have different parts of our brain that do different functions. And when we feel that emotional stress, our limbic part of the brain kind of takes over, and it's the emotional part. So what happens then, the hippocampus, which stores memories, and I'll tell you a little story that kind of illustrates this, a true story. So the hippocampus kind of kicks in and it starts dredging up memories that maybe aren't real good, that kind of feed anxiety and fear and stress. And then the amygdala, which is the emotional part of the brain, starts kicking in, and it's like, okay, we got to fight, or we've got to run and hide, or we've got to, it gets all excited and you feel even more stressed out. And then cortisol gets released, which is a bad hormone. That's the stress hormone, and that adds to it. And to top things off, the frontal lobe of your brain, which is the executive function, the rational part that could say, wait a minute, maybe there's more to this story. Maybe we should calm down. It checks out. It just says, okay, I'm not dealing with this. And so you're left with this part of your brain that's all emotional and stirred up. And I'm going to tell the story that illustrates it. And this is a true story. I told you I've lived in a million different places. I won't use any names because I don't want anyone to, in case this person would happen, I don't think they ever would, but I had a neighbor, this particular place, and I was a classroom teacher at the time. And this neighbor calls me, she has 4 kids, calls me at 10 o'clock at night, and she says, well, I think, and she named one of her kids, we'll say Susie. I think Susie has chicken pox. I said, well, they're in the elementary school, so that could be true. That could happen. And this person is really excitable and gets out of control quickly. Within 10 seconds, she goes, but then I remembered I read a story where a mother thought that her child had just some allergic reaction, and it turned out to be flesh-eating disease, and they had to amputate their leg. And I mean, it just got into this crazy. And I said, calm down. Do you need me to come and see if Susie has chickenpox? Oh, can you do that? Yes. And so within 2 seconds, the hippocampus said, over here, that's a scary story. And the amygdala said, oh my gosh, they're going to cut my child's legs off. And it grew into this huge thing. So I go to her house, look at Susie. Yep, those are chicken pox. Bring me the other 3 kids. And I'm lifting their shirts up. Oh, you're getting them too. They're popping out there. 3 of the 4 kids had chicken pox. Not a big deal. But because all this craziness took over, it blew up into something it wasn't. So the first thing is, our mind can't be trusted always. It gets out of control. And 80% of what we imagine, maybe 90%, really isn't true, and it's never going to happen. But we let it take hold, and we kind of ruminate about it, and then it gets all crazy. So we have to do that. We have to understand that that's what's going on in our body. So the key is, how do we stop it? How do we get that stop? The quickest thing you can do is hum. Hum. And if your mother unmuted herself, she could talk about this better than I can. But what happens when we hum is that we stimulate the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is this big nerve that it's the base of our brain, and there's the right side, the left side. It goes through all of our major organs. It regulates our heartbeat. It regulates our breathing, because once you get excited like that, your heart races and you're hyperventilating a little bit. If you hum, all of that kind of calms down. Also, it's almost impossible to hum and think another thought. Take a second and try that. Hum for a second and then try to think something. Hum your favorite song. And so it kind of shuts all that noise down. So the very quickest thing you can do is hum and kind of, okay. So there's your first thing, Tracy. Try.
I love it. Oh, I'll be humming. My mom always talks about humming. And I even tell my students, I did breathe out loud today. And it was funny. I have this really, really, really funny guy in my class, and we love him. And it's his birthday tomorrow, but I won't see him tomorrow. So I had everybody sing happy birthday to him like we were Marilyn Monroe and he was JFK. And he was like, my mother, I've seen her do that and I've enjoyed it. I do it sometimes, but I've never done it to a person. We just kind of pretend we're singing to Mr. President, which happy birthday. And then afterwards, I had them all hum happy birthday to him. And I know I've heard my mom speak about the benefits of humming. I know that it is a relaxant but I've never thought of it the way that you're saying it. So I'm going to really, really, my mother does the bee humming thing. Do you know anything about that?
don't know anything about that.
Okay, we'll talk about that later when she's able to join us. And there's something to do with that. I might be wrong, I might be misspeaking, but I do know that I'm going to be humming away.
Yeah,
I'm,
the next
I'm
time,
humming.
just start humming. Think of your favorite. For me, it's if I can hum some James Taylor or some Carole King, I'm in great shape. I just kind of takes me somewhere else. So that's the first thing, hum. The other thing I would suggest is really, really, really limiting watching the news and social media. And if you're familiar with Julia Cameron at all, I used to facilitate Artist Way all the time. She created Artist Way, but she would have us do a week where we did media deprivation, and that was a whole week where you didn't watch any news, you didn't get on social media. It was totally a whole week without tuning into the world, and
How
pretty
was that? That must have been fantastic.
yeah, and you can do it, and you kind of reset everything. Then it's kind of pressing the reset button. um, but you might consider doing a media deprivation week where you
Oh, I'm definitely, I'm not just considering, I'm going to, when I think something about my brain I'm so grateful for is when I put my mind to something, I really do it. And I think I've noticed even when I put on YouTube, like to watch Wayne Dyer or watch one of these, the news starts coming on because that's how much I've been looping it. So instead of me seeing like, oh, Wayne Dyer, Joe Dispenza, Oprah Winfrey, or, somebody motivational or, Les Brown or all these people I love to listen to, it'll be, news, MSM, one of the channels will start looping or just a funny comedian or something that's about the news. And I noticed that today, like I was trying to get to Wayne Dyer and I was going through. So I think it's like I can even reprogram my all of my things by just doing. And now, truthfully, one of the things that I said I was staying on Facebook for was to promote my show and to tell people topics and guests. And so I guess maybe, I believe there's no coincidences and I believe that's why I am at peace with the show because I really believe that this was the time for me to change some things. I've been wanting to write this book for 5 years. I started it during COVID. It's revamped itself 5 times. I've had two authors on my show and I've just enjoyed it. Now three, because you're an author with Denise. And I feel that this is a time, this will give me time to focus on it. And it'll also, I'm going to do the media thing. I'm telling you, I'm absolutely doing it because I think I remember about a year ago having a conversation with a group of students that we do a wellness support group, my mom and I, one of my places I teach, and somehow the news came up. And at that time my mom and I literally barely watched the news. I mean, barely, once in a blue moon. And we were talking, we said, oh, we don't really pay much attention. And one of the students was shocked, but then how do you know what's going on? And I said, I think someone will tell me. I have some best friends and I feel like you guys will let me know if there's a hurricane. Of course I'm going to watch the Weather Channel. And I think about how the brain works from there to now, where I am with this obsession or compulsion or whatever it is. It's not going to change anything. It's just making me nervous. So I'm grateful for that. I'm definitely going to do that.
good. Good. Well, let's talk then for a second what happens on Facebook if we are addicted to Facebook and we know those people, oh, I'm bored, I'm waiting for my doctor's appointment, I'm going to just scroll through Facebook. What happens? So you post something on Facebook and then you have to go back and check who liked it. Are you guilty of that? Oh, how many likes do I have? You know what that is? That's dopamine. Every time someone likes your post, you get a shot of dopamine in your brain, and your brain loves rewards. Your brain loves that dopamine. It goes, oh, give me more, give me more. Look again, look again, and you become addicted to it. It's a dopamine. It's the same chemical, the same hormone that an addict gets from any kind of high. So you do get addicted to the Facebook thing and watching it, and who's reacting to what I said. And so break that. Don't look at it for a week and see what happens. Not only the news, but just get away from that and see if you don't feel better. So that's one. Those are two things: the humming, and there's some other breathing things. The other thing I wanted to talk about that goes with humming is the breathing. And if you take 2 or 3 real quick inhales through the nose, kind of think like when you're sobbing really hard and you kind of hiccup, you kind of, how you kind of, if you're sobbing really hard, you'll, and then blow it out through your mouth. And do that a few times. The other thing is just take a deep breath in through the nose and make it a deep breath that starts deep in your belly and fill up your entire rib cage up to your chest, and then blow it out like you're whistling. That's a great one to use if you're at the doctor's office for your checkup and they're going to take your blood pressure and you're a little nervous. You can actually calm yourself down. You can calm your heart rate down. You can calm your blood pressure down if you just breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth like you're whistling, and you'll
Mm,
calm yourself down a little bit. So that kind of goes along with the humming thing, the breathing.
mm.
Um, all right. So I've got some notes. I'm cheating. I'm looking.
Oh, no, notes are great.
So meditation, and I'm anxious to share this because I've wanted to meditate for so long, and my mind goes 1,000 miles a minute, and it's like, oh, I can't do this. Like, I had someone explain to me what meditation is, and it changed my life. And hopefully, maybe if it just resonates with one person tonight, that'll be good. Someone explained to me that when we meditate, we're not talking to our mind, we're talking to our soul. We're speaking to our soul, and we can ask our soul any question, or we can ask it for help for anything. And our soul has a direct connection to the divine. The divine is pure love. And that means our soul can never, ever lie to us. It cannot tell us a lie. Our mind can lie to us. Our mind can tell us all kinds of crazy things and make us, but our soul cannot lie to us. And so I learned to sit quietly. And if there was something bugging me, to just ask my soul, close my eyes and say, Soul, what should I do about whatever the situation is? And just listen for an answer. And I'm always surprised by what comes up. Now, I've also done that in my journal. I've written, I'm a big journaler. I like to write things down, and I like to go back and look at it and go, wow, that wasn't me talking. Because sometimes when I ask that in my journal, the words are very deep and profound, and I know it's not coming from me. It's
Mm.
much deeper than I'm capable of thinking the answers that I get. So, kind of thinking about meditation in that framework, that I'm just going to sit here quietly and talk to my soul. And I'm going to ask my soul for direction and guidance, and see what
That's
bubbles up.
so good. I think it's interesting that you say that because I know when I'm in a very good mental place, I meditate every day. I have a friend on here who is so kind to facilitate a meditation once a week. I go to her. I turn on like I have like either the Calm app or I turn on she's gotten me into the Yoga Nidra, so I'll put that on and I have tons that I and I'll do it every day religiously, twice a night. I'll when I wake up and my little brain starts going, my big brain starts going, I'll turn it on. And I've noticed recently with everything kind of tumultuous and my brain not settled that I haven't felt like meditating. I just haven't felt like it. Um, as much as I know that I should, and I love it. It's not like before when I used to be like, oh, meditation makes me, oh, I really love it, but because of it's almost like how can I meditate when all of this is going on and I got to fix it and fix it and so I think that I'm going to I think that the no media and no Facebook will help with the meditation for sure because the things I'm going to listen to now are my Audible books and my all my healing. I have a couple of Buddhist monks that I listen to that are so soothing and I love listening to them. And now I find when I put them on, I'm like agitated because I want to hear the news. Isn't that weird?
Well, if I can make a suggestion for meditation music, are you familiar with Lee Harris at all?
Mm-mm.
Lee Harris, and he has a whole album, medicine mantras. And one of them is, I release any emotion that does not belong to me. And it's just this very soothing music about what you're talking about, all this
Mm.
heaviness that's weighing on you. And I give it back because it's not mine to deal with. And it isn't ours to deal with. I mean, we're not going to change things right now. We just have to battle through it. Um,
Yeah.
but you might give Lee Harris a try and see what you
Oh,
think.
I will. I will absolutely. I'm up. I had a conversation with a friend, a friend that I went and had coffee with today, and after my classes and after seeing Helen, and I spoke about being open-minded, and that's the one thing that's kind of almost generational with my family. Is my mother, my sister, my grandmothers, both of them are very, 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 or my grandmothers were, but and my sister was, and my mom. I'm open to anything. So if I truly think that there's something that's going to help me in any way or that I can share with others to help, I will try it, Mary Beth. And I really mean that. Like everything you're telling me right now, I'm going to do because I feel like it's my brain is calling me to continue my journey of healing. And I feel that, this is a bit, well, not a bit, it is a rough time. My mom and we had my sister's birthday last month, and then we have her passing a week from today, which is why I didn't end out the month of the shows. And it's a hard time for us as much as it's 8 years and it seems like 8 weeks or 8 months. It never goes away. It's obviously better, but I know that it does something with my brain and my heart, my mom's and her heart, her brain and her heart, and it weighs heavy on us. And it's just very bittersweet, like just with the end of the show, because I have so many beautiful memories and so many. She was just such an incredible human being, but it's miss her. And then it's like 8 years, and I feel like I've almost stood still, even though I know I haven't. So it's one of those things. I know how far I've come. I know how proud she is of us, but now I know that she's going to want me to push a little further and say, the show is ending now. It's time to close this chapter. And now it's time for you to go into even bigger things or even things that can help people in a completely different way. So I feel that this is a good time for me, and maybe this is like God sent for me to have you, because really I mean that, because I feel that this is very, I need to do this. I do need to turn the news off and turn the humming on. I
Let,
plan.
let me say a little word about grief because I had earlier in the month, actually it was April 4th to be exact, I had just this really blue day. I mean, just bursting into tears and just felt the weight of the world on my shoulders. And I texted I texted my daughter and I said, I don't know what's wrong. I'm just in this blue funk and I'm weepy. And she texted me back and she said, Mom, it's the 10-year anniversary of Grandpa passing away. You may not consciously feel it, but your body feels it. And I had even registered that it had been 10 years to the day that my father had passed away, but my body felt it anyway. And I think that's so interesting that, even if we don't consciously say, oh, this is the day, our bodies will still celebrate that grief
Mm,
without our knowledge. And that's what it was. So, if you have those blue days, kind of think back, what am I holding in my body? What grief am I holding? What trauma am I holding that my body is trying to tell me about today? And just be aware of that. Um, but aren't we
yeah,
fortunate to have loved so much that we feel grief? I mean, that's the flip side. Obviously,
yes.
we had loving, wonderful people in our lives
Yep.
if we feel that kind of grief. So,
Of course. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember at the beginning, I used to go to therapy and grief share and many modalities, brain balance. And I used to think, this is a club. I had people in there that had lost a small child. I had people there that their husband had passed away in front of them unexpectedly on Christmas Day. I mean, crazy stories, crazy suicide, people that murders. And I thought, this is just a club. I would look around the room and it was just heartbreaking. And it would almost put things in perspective for me because I got to spend so many years with her, and my mom and I got to spend so many years, and some people did not have that joy and that gift. And but it did put things in perspective, but it also made me think this is just a club that nobody wants to be a part of. It's not, so, but I look at things, I reflect now and I think of things. Couldn't be more grateful to have had that. She was my best friend. How lucky. How, I know so many people that are like, my sister, my brother. No, not me. Oh, she was everything to me and to my mom. So, that's the gift. That's the
right.
gift. If you had a great dad, which I'm sure, hopefully you did,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's your gift.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I feel his presence all the time, which is a wonderful thing. Well, we're getting
Yes.
off track here.
Oh,
So
sorry.
that's okay. So the other thing I was going to talk about is finding peace in nature or
Mhm.
in art or in creativity. Um, Finding your flow. And your flow is when you get so engaged in something that you lose track of time. You just feel like you become a part of the process, whatever
Mm.
that is. It could be cooking. It could be, for me, writing. A lot of times when I'm writing, I look up and it's been 2 hours. I've been jotting things down, and where did the time go? And it sure didn't feel like that. Or playing a musical instrument. It could be a sports activity, but something that you become so enraptured with that you just forget about everything around you. You forget time, time stands still. But walks in nature are fabulous. We're lucky. We have well, not right now. Somebody found a rattlesnake on our nature
Oh,
walk here in the neighborhood this week, but normally it's safe. But we have a beautiful nature walk, several acres we can walk on. And when my granddaughter visits, she's my buddy. She's 11. Everybody else will go do something. She'll go, no, I'm staying here with Grammy. We're going to walk. And so we go back to
oh,
the woods through the nature walk. And she likes to build the cairns, the stacked rocks. And so we'll stack rocks in different places. Kids are great to take for that because they aren't as, I don't know what the word is. They still have their innocence because some
mm,
people, the story behind cairns, and you've seen the rocks that are balanced, stacked one on top of
yeah, yeah.
that people that built them long ago, they were vortexes of energy. And they
Ah,
were where there was special energy. And I think children can kind of tune into that because she'll say, oh, Grammy, no, that's not the right place. We have to do it over here. And so we'll build these things and we'll be out for 2 hours. And then we come back and she'll say, okay, now we have to paint what we saw. So we get out art things and we draw and we paint. Um, Find something like that to do. Find something that brings you joy
yeah.
and brings you into nature, brings you peace, makes a connection with somebody you love, um, and then you'll find your peace again. That reminds you of what's important. Where your heart is, where your soul is. So
Mm.
that's another wonderful thing to do. Find that thing where you're in the flow and you just lose track of time. It's just a wonderful feeling.
That sounds good. That sounds good to me. One a facility where I teach has beautiful grass, and I like to go early because they have flowers outside. So I'll go and I love to ground, so I'll put my feet in the grass. I haven't even, now that I think of telling you, I haven't even felt like doing that. So I know that that's weird because I love doing that. So that's another thing. If I need to put my face in the sun, I did it today. I
Get
kind of made myself.
Take your shoes off, ground yourself.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah, I always take my shoes off. Oh, we're big barefooters. I mean, that's
yeah,
one of my things I know a lot about. Yeah, I love grounding. So I'll just get back into all of those things. I'm just going to do a little I do write in a journal, but I also text myself things. I don't know if that's weird, but it works for me. I text myself pages of things. And
whatever
then
works.
yeah, and I look back at it and I'm always kind of like you. I'm kind of like, whoa, where did that come from? I really can't believe we have 2 minutes left. I feel like I could talk to you for 4.5 hours, and I'm
Aw.
sure at some point we will. But I just want to thank you for this beautiful gift of this information. The good thing is, everybody, we're going to keep the videos. I'm going to have like a channel that Denise and Leah are kind enough to help. I'm going to pick out videos. I'm keeping all my guests, all the ones I've done with guests, and a couple of me on my own, the ones that I feel like are the more useful ones, perhaps. And Denise was the host before me for 2 years, so she's going to pick hers as well. So those will be available. We have up until May 15th to keep watching it on this loop, like on the link. And then after that, I'll let everybody know where the videos are and I'll start, moving in that direction. But it's just been a fantastic healing journey. It really has. And even if the last couple of weeks have been a funky monk, it's been me making it that way. And I do know that. I promise you, I know that. So I will be turning off the news and turning on the humming and singing you know, and grounding. And I mean it. I really mean it. I'm not just saying that. And my mom can verify when I say it, I'm going to do it. I do it. So I'm hoping that everybody here, everybody, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for always coming on the show and being so supportive to me. It means everything to me. I so appreciate it. And then, of course, to my mom, I love you so much, Mama. And my mom is my biggest fan, as I'm her biggest fan. So I'm grateful, Mary Beth. Thank you so much. Thank you for ending
Thank
this
you.
chapter with me, and we're going to be starting another one
Yay.
in the very near future. All right. So I'm going